So you actually have one of your students here, and I'm so excited to welcome to our stage Alex Matthew, who is a senior at Alpha School.
Good to see you guys.
So tell us a little bit about what you've built.
Yeah, so by the way, hey everyone, I'm Alex. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Alpha High School, and I only transferred into Alpha High School last year. So I used to go to a public magnet school. It was ranked top 30 in the nation, and I had 8-hour school days. I would do homework from 3 to 4 hours after school, so that's 12 hours of schoolwork. And then I try to cram in all the things I really loved doing after that period of time. And so that led to, first of all, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I also was getting very little sleep. It was a pretty bad lifestyle. And so I knew I needed a change. And so when I entered in Alpha High School, we did the Ikigai project, the 168-hour week. And what I really found my passion was the combination of artificial intelligence, this super big, really cool technology, but also mental health. Because I, as a kid, when I was 8, used to go to therapy when my parents got divorced. I was an 8-year-old, and my therapist was 50 years older than me. I don't know if you know 8-year-olds, but we don't really get along with old people. And so I had a hard time connecting with her. She would give me advice that was like very disconnected from me. And on the off chance she would give me good advice, it was only, I only got to see her once every couple of weeks. And so I had a hard time staying accountable to that advice. And so I saw the struggles of my friends and myself in my old school. I came in, I knew I wanted to solve this crisis. So I interviewed like hundreds of teens, probably close to 500 teens and psychologists, and I came up with Barry, which is an AI-powered stuffed animal you can talk to about your mental health problems.
I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what the process was like to build.
To build Barry, yeah. I mean, it's really interesting because I came in and I told my teachers, I want to build an AI stuffed animal. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I want to build an AI stuffed animal. My goal is to be the next Build-A-Bear. They were talking about Labubus earlier. I'm trying to be the next Labubu. And so, it's pretty hard because it's a hardware product, right? It's not just an app that you have to make. And so I learned coding. We did a hackathon one weekend, and so I coded up a little prototype of the app. I'm still working on it myself. I got the first version up. I went through like probably 10 different iterations of the prototype, and I'm now testing with 100 teens, and I'm on my way to figuring out distribution. So my distribution strategy is really cool, guys. In Alpha School, we have to come up with this super big, ambitious goal. My goal is to reach 100 million people by 2035. And most people would look at you, I tell my teacher this, and they'd be like, what does this kid think he's doing? But I tell my guide, and they're like, okay, how do we do this?
I love it.
And so my goal right now is to partner with influencers, make Barry have their own voice, have their own personality. There can be different versions of Barry. And then in the future, everyone will be able to customize their own Barry. So it has their own voice or their parents' voice or whatever voice they want, their own personality. My therapist was much older than me. I wanted someone that I resonated with more. And so that's the intention. We want to make someone that's relatable, but will also be real with you and give you the advice that you need.
Are you raising money?
I am. So I raised around.
There's a lot of investors in the audience.
Guys, please. I've raised around $40,000 in grant funding, so non-dilutive funding, but I'm now raising up to a $400,000 pre-seed round and just have my first investor meeting, and he's going to sign a term sheet soon. So that's exciting.
I love it. Woo! I imagine you had to learn a lot of skills and just acquire a lot of background knowledge to make this happen. Yeah. What was the hardest or most intimidating thing you had to learn to get Barry off the ground?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I think the most important life skill in high school is receiving feedback. So we have a series of workshops on receiving feedback. Level 1 is, can you receive critical feedback, maybe from Joe, without crying? And we're kind of scared of him. and some of us didn't pass that. But the next level is, don't worry, I did, don't worry. The next level is called rejection training. And so our campus is in the middle of downtown Austin.
I think we all need to do that as adults.
This one's really fun, guys. So it's in the middle of downtown Austin. We have to go out into different stores or whatever, and we have to ask to get free pizza or a sandwich named after us. So my friend's named Ruben. We had to get a Reuben sandwich named after him, and jump on the mattresses to see what the springability is like. And so that's the next level of receiving feedback. Can you get rejected? But then the final kind of tier is, do you have a series of experts who are giving you feedback on your product? What are your users saying about your product? And I mean, I love my Berry. I love the format, whatever it is. And when I got feedback, I used to get super defensive. I was like, what do you mean? I have the best product out there. And so you have to really understand, you have to lower your ego and get critical feedback, or else you're not going to make progress. It's so important. Yeah. And so,
is this cool or what?
No.
So cool.
And
okay,
when you talk
super
about
impressive.
rather than sitting in class and just learning sort of the core curriculum that we all learned, right? Having these workshops where you're learning the life skills, right, that are going to be really valuable, right, outside of the classroom. That's what we get to spend 4 hours a day on, right? Giving the kids the time back to work on this.
Yeah.
When you talk about scaling there's been lots of educational
how do
reform.
you scale this?
The problem with educational reform is if you keep it where the kid has to sit in class for 6 hours and homework, there's no time to do anything else. There's just no time. And you always try to say, when we read those life skills, there's lots of schools that are like, oh, how do I put that in? But there's just no time. And so that's the core part. When we look at scaling this, we have a few different ones, but one is by making it tech-enabled, right? You do have scale. This software, right, is going to go out to 1 billion kids, and it is going to be able to teach them what you'd learn in class 10 times faster, right? If they engage and motivate, which is a different topic, we can talk about how we're doing that,
right.
It will educate them much, much faster.
But I want to challenge you a little bit because, in a way, the AI piece is the easiest to scale.
100%.
The rest of it, which is the one-on-one tutoring and the guide, that's really hard to scale. And for now, I know you're expanding very rapidly as a model, but for now, it's a private school system. How do you make this more accessible?
Yeah. So one of the things, and if we want to be spicy in the talk, I'll say one of the...
We can be spicy.
Great. Well, one of the things back to scale, when we look at education, what are some of the beliefs of education that you need to break if you want to scale? The first is teacher in front of a classroom. Teachers are great. Teacher in front of the classroom is the worst way to teach kids. The second one is selection effects, right? In education, selection effects are considered an insult, that it's bad. There's a view that if you can't serve all kids, no matter what, on day one, you should serve nobody, right? And if you talk about Alpha, right, we're a high-end private school, the number one criticism is selection effects. We look at the world completely differently, which is we believe selection effects are the power to get to scale. And so our motto is select, but don't fail the kids. And so, for example, we're opening next year a sports academy. So it's going to be $15,000, so dramatically cheaper pricing with the vouchers in Texas. It'll be Texas Sports Academy. It'll be a $400 parent pay, right? $400 a month, so dramatically cheaper. But it will only select for kids who love sports, right? And because they love sports, we can design the day where they're going to love the day. And as part of that, they will engage in the 2 hours in the apps, right? And then play sports in the afternoon.
What I love about this is you're bringing a very business mindset to how we're building this, because as you know, there's a lot of founders in the room. We always apply this product market fit. We're not going to be a product for everybody in the world, but being clear on your audience and your target market.
Nobody would get funded if you said, I will not ship until it works for everybody at every price point globally. Right? But that is usually a requirement if you're in education. It also goes, if you want another spicy one, that is, and a lot of that comes because most of education is driven by nonprofit, right? And we have another phrase, which is nonprofit is non-scalable. And so if you're trying to scale, you have to break that, which is the problem with nonprofit is the better and more successful you are, the faster you run out of your donations, right? Yeah. The number of very successful charter schools, when you talk to them, have great academic outcomes, kids love it, they have a 3,000 person wait list. And you're like, well, why don't you open a new campus? They're like, I'm waiting for a $40 million donation, right? Capitalism actually solves that. If if a for-profit company has a 3,000 person wait list and everybody loving it, you're going to be able to open as many locations as you want.
Yeah. Very quickly, many schools are struggling with how to embrace AI. Very quickly, what's your advice?
Two things really clear, which is chatbots or cheat bots, they're terrible. If we roll out ChatGPT in a normal today's academic setting, 90% of kids will use it to cheat. There is 5 to 10% Socratic tutor, blah, 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 it's really great. 90%, it's terrible. And so now we have a counter to that. So during our 2 hours, we have no chat functionality enabled. We've tried to, and even our good students, they all hack it and cheat.
It's not cheating. Well, maybe it is.
That's a whole conversation. Yeah.
And so, but our view is, and what we tell all our students, if you are using ChatGPT in the morning during your academics, you are probably cheating. If you are not using it in your afternoon life skills workshop, you are probably failing. Right? There is no teacher who knows how to build a mental health plushie and get distribution via Build-A-Bear and all these influencers. But ChatGPT is what gives kids superpowers in that world. And so it's important to segment those two things. Teachers are great, teacher in front of the classroom is bad. Using chat functionality during academic learning, bad. Using it in the afternoon, awesome.
Very cool. All right, final question. Kids today are stepping into a future marked by rapid responses in AI and also a ton of uncertainty. What skills do they truly need to be prepared for life? Joe, we're going to start with you, and then Alex, you're getting the final word.
Right. We believe the key is that we create self-driven, motivated creators who have an optimistic view on the world, right? If you go in and talk to the Alexes in our high school and middle school, these kids look at this world where you hear about doomerism and, you know, where is AI, what's going to happen? And they wake up and they say, AI gives us superpowers. We're going to crush it. McKinsey, the founder of Alpha, she wakes up and says, this is the best time in history to be a 5-year-old. And we very much believe that.
Alex?
I agree. I mean, when you look up mental health on TikTok, you'll see people like crying. And so that's how they're viewing the world right now. It's this kind of like doomerism, this like, oh, this next big problem is going to end the world. And so that rational optimism where it's like, oh, we understand how the world's going to be better. And we're the ones building that. We're the ones creating that.
Yeah.
And we have the agency, and nothing is better than the freedom to do that. Then, you know, we're going to be living our best lives.
So inspiring. Thank you both. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.